Dear students, welcome to the video tutorial related to the functional and system level requirements for library automation. In this particular tutorial, we will be exploring different functional level requirements and system level requirements for standard library automation system. Now, you see first that a library automation is basically a very complex process, and it should be judiciously selected and performed. For example, a typical library automation scenario, first you need to select the software, then according to the requirement of that software you need to select a set of back-end hardware. Then after selection and procurement of the hardware, you need to go for the site preparation, that is meant for the different electrical arrangement, then air conditioning arrangement, etc. for the server room, different furnitures related to host the client computers, then data entry terminal, etc. Now, after your site preparation is over, you have to proceed for the general training program for your library staff. It can be systematic, like one training module for the circulation staff, another training module for the cataloging staff, etc. So, overall you have to cover different security aspects, privilege controls, different operational activities related to a particular module, etc. That should be the training part. Now, after the training part is over, you can go for the, you can select your additional requirements and you can opt for customization. Customization, if you are procuring a commercial ILS, you can request your vendor that these are the customization we need to have, because you see library automation software is basically a fit to all size kind of thing. Now, no two libraries under the sun are operating in the same manner. So, it is quite possible that you need to have some kind of custom features in your ILS. So, that customization part you can either request your vendor if you are procuring through a commercial channel, or you are request if you are procuring an open source ILS or implementing an open source ILS, that can, in that case you can use your in-house expertise of the library staff to customize certain kind of things, or you can hire third party programmer to customize certain part of things. But in case of customization, please ensure when you are customizing an open source software, please ensure that the customization should occur in such a way that it should be compatible for the future release of open source ILSs. Most ILSs follow a strict release order, twice a year possibly they are coming out. So, if you are changing something fundamentally, then your ILS will not be able to cope up with the next release. So, please keep a note on that particular aspect. After that customization part is over, you have to declare different procedures for bibliographic data entry, for administrative data entry, for financial data entry. Now, at the bibliographic data entry level, you need to you need to decide what particular format you are using, what authority format you are using, how the bibliographic records can readily be integrated with the authority format, and then you need to define what are the different parameters you are going to cover for administration of the ILS, say how you can configure the system, what should be your schedule for the backup, then different kind of cron jobs, that is fine calculation, sending of notice, generation of emails, all these kind of things you need to consider for administrative data entry purposes. In the financial data entry model, you see library automation is a very complex one in compare with the other library system like digital library system, etc. Here in real time you need to seamlessly integrate bibliographic data, member data and financial data. Say for example, one particular member searching a particular book, issuing a particular book, then you need to calculate at the same time if there is any due fines on the part of the that user. So, in real time you need to integrate the bibliographic data, member data and financial data. So, financial data entry process also need to be done on the basis of a standard. So, all these three data sets, bibliographic data, administrative data and financial data, need to be very carefully crafted set of activities for a library. Now, after all this process is over, you can go on commissioning, that is testing phase of the ILS. Now, you can easily understand through these complex steps and processes related with the library automation that we need to understand what are the system level requirements and functional requirements related to an ILS. Now, let us consider the three group of requirements. First, we will be studying system level requirements, then we will be studying functional requirements related to ILS, and at the end we will be studying what are the software level requirements we need to study before selecting an ILS. Let us first start with the system level. In system level requirements, first thing we need to consider is the hardware. Then if hardware part is over, we need to concentrate how network compatibility can be achieved and what are the storage requirements for the library automation system. Because these three things, hardware, network and storage, will build the necessary infrastructure for implementation of your integrated library system. As I told you that first you need to select software, then you need to select hardware, because each and every software has specific minimum requirements for the server and the client level. So, it is always wise to go for selecting software first, then you come to hardware, network and storage. Now, hardware requirement can vary, or infrastructural requirement as a whole can vary from one library system to another library system. For example, if you want to serve user through Webpack, you need to have a server, you need to have an IP address, you need to have a domain name system. And on the other hand, a library which wants to serve user in a local area network or within a campus, they do not need to have IP address and domain name. So, there a simple class C IP address or local IP address will serve the purpose. Now, when this server level setup is over, if you wish to serve distributed cataloging through Z39.50 server, you need to have a higher capacity server. So, not all the libraries are providing Z39.50 server service to other libraries, because it is a L2L services. Through your catalog database, you can serve your user, that is called L2C, library to client, and another is from your catalog database you can serve other libraries to download your records through Z39.50 protocol. So, that is called L2L services. If you want to provide only L2C, your server requirement is different. If you want to provide L2L, that is Z39.50 server, your server requirement is different. So, generally hardware level requirements include server, a centralized mainframe computer, client PCs, that these are low end computers through which you can enter data, your staff can enter data, and end user searching terminals. So, those are basically low cost PCs. You can go on piecemeal basis. They say, for example, you may start your library automation with 6-7 PCs, then you can progress over the time based on your requirements. Now, storage devices are required to store your bibliographic data. Bibliographic data storing is basically cataloging data, does not take much server space, because normally if we consider one character takes 1 byte, then we are basically simply storing the metadata related to different documents, and one particular book you can hardly consider 1 MB data requirement is just enough. So, in this way you can calculate the storage requirement not only for the present 1 year or 2 year basis, you just calculate on a 5 year basis that how much books you are going to, what you have actually and how much books you are going to procure for the next 5 years. Then you calculate that number of records into 1 MB. So, how many space you record. But again, please remember that if your server is at the same time wants to serve digital library system, that is the it wants to store full text data, multimedia data, then the server space requirement will be much more higher, and storage requirement is also much more higher. In that case, most of the libraries are providing or moving towards the SAN storage system instead of a single storage computer based single storage. Now, another when your hardware part, server part and storage devices are over, you need to select the network requirement to link server with different kind of storage devices and client pieces. So, most of the cases in libraries we have IP address for server, IP address for different kind of SAN storage devices and IP address for different client pieces. Most of the libraries are running library automation software on the top of intranet environment. That means they are using different kind of internet technologies, telnet, FTP, HTTP, etc. And I already told you that if you want to go global, that means if you want to serve your user through web apart from that network capability, you need to have IP address, you need to have domain name system. Now, if we now move towards the functional requirements level, that we have already studied that what are the functional requirements that are at the least to be supported by the library automation software. So, functional requirements, you need to have study the ordering and acquisition process. Ordering and acquisition involves ordering of a particular document, receiving of a particular document. In case of non receiving in time, you need to place claim. Then you need to create your vendor database, you need to create budget, you need to create different budget heads, you need to allocate funds for different budget heads, you need to have a currency conversion table, you need to have a module through which suggestions can be taken online from the user. That means in place of the offline requisition system, your library automation system can provide facilities through which user can submit their requirement online. Different kind of inquiries, say what happened to my order, what is the order status, what is the receiving status, that can be served over the user services or user interfaces. Then accessioning of the received documents, and most of the libraries nowadays prefer that at the time of accessioning they are providing different item related data. That means the call number related with the book, then copy number, permanent location, holding location, date of acquisition, price of the book in the MARC format. And these are basically when this data is basically moving from acquisition module to cataloging module, but in non-MARC field. That means most of the library automation systems are holding the item related data which actually occurs during accessioning of that item into 9xx group of MARC fields. Now, if your accessioning is over through that MARC 21 local format on the basis of 9xx fields, you can proceed for different kind of financial transaction like bill processing, payment, payment receipt generation, reports and statistics. So, these are the functional requirement which needs to be supported by the operational subsystem of ordering and acquisition. Now, if we go to the cataloging subsystem which comes under basically the processing, it is one of the most important job of a library automation system. There, as I told you, that we need to ensure first what are the standards format available for your library automation system. And please take a note that when whenever we talk about the standard formats, sometimes we mean only bibliographic format. But dear students, library automation is not only the bibliographic format. At the same time, you need to have bibliographic format, authority format, holdings format, classification format, and in some cases community information format. So, nowadays we are using MARC 21 as a global de facto standard for cataloging, but remember that MARC 21 is a family of 5 coordinated standard. It includes bibliographic format, authority format, holdings format, community information format and classification format. So, your library automation system should support all 5 or at least 3, that is the bibliographic format, authority format and holdings format. These 3 are mandatory, and if other tools are available, that is holding format and community information format, those will be added advantage for your library automation. So, please ensure that at least these 3 data standards are available with the library automation system. Now, you check at the cataloging level whether your ILS can be able to link with the linked open data on the basis of given MARC format. Say for example, your book has got a companion websites or a table of content. Now, can we link that particular table of content or companion website, or if it is a textbook, all the solved exercises are suppose available in a particular website, can we link that in real time? So, there is an 856 tags available in MARC 21 format. You please check whether it is open or not. Then in case of series data elements, most of the library automation software still continuing with the series as 440 tag, but please take a note that 440 tag is now obsolete, and Library of Congress MARC documentation office, that is called NDMSO, that NDMSO office declared recently that they will be replacing 440 tag will be replaced by the 490 tag. So, please check all these kind of nitty-gritties that your library automation is supporting or not. Next, you think about the Unicode compliant multilingual data processing. You check whether the virtual keyboards for your required languages are available with it or not, whether it can store your data in the native script or regional script in Unicode format or not, whether it can search and retrieve in your regional language or not. So, these 3 checking must be done. Say for example, a library is basically dealing with the books with 4 or 5 languages, say English, Hindi, Bengali, Oriya and Malayalam. So, we need to check for each language availability of the virtual keyboard, availability of the rendering engine, whether glyphs, that is the Yuktakkar in Indic script, whether it is coming properly or not, and what is the storage mechanism inside the database. So, all these kind of things we need to check. Then next, if that checking is over, you check with the retrieval. So, what are the retrieval techniques available with your ILS? What are the back end text retrieval engine they are using? For example, at least your retrieval mechanism of your ILS should support Boolean operators, that is AND, OR and NOT operators. It should support relational operator like greater than is equal to, less than is equal to, etc. And it should support positional operator. So, that means different kind of proximity search, phrase search, etc. And nowadays most of the sophisticated text retrieval engines are available. They supports fuzzy searching, they support dedumin type of search, just like Google. You have seen in Google. So, suppose you are typing something, you have typing wrongly something in the Google text box. So, Google says you dedumin this, and in 90% cases it refers to the correct spelling. So, that kind of fuzzy search mechanism, dedumin type search mechanism are also available with the text retrieval searching engines, and you please check with your library automation system. Then I already told you that Z39.50 based copy cataloging. Z39.50 based copy cataloging is a 2-state protocol. You can have a client to snatch records from different Z39.50 server, or at the same time you can provide other libraries bibliographic data through Z39.50 server. So, at least your library automation software should include Z39.50 client gateway, through which you can download different validated MARC records from different other servers into your local level. Then you need to check what are the report generation capabilities, what are the holding informations availability provided by your ILS, different kind of user services, whether this is interactive, participative or collaborative or not, whether user can tag a particular document or not, whether they can put like or ratings on a particular document or not. These are the functional checklist for the cataloging module, and you please need to ensure that kind of thing. Now, when we are coming into the next service level, that is the circulation level, you need to go for settings of user privileges, different kind of circulation rule, issue return rule, reservation, fine calculation in real time, user management. options for user to change their password and through OPAC and other kind of thing, and reminders and recalls, inquiries, etc. And different kind of report, statistics and patron self services should be generated by your ILS. Now, another important functional requirements is the serials control. Serials control is possibly the most important and most complex task of a library. You need to ensure order placement, renewal of subscription, cardex management, that is to manage the loose issues, receiving and claiming, binding control. Say for example, each issue of a particular serial we never accession. When a particular volume, all the issues related to a particular volume appears, we send them to the binder. It comes back as a bound volume and we accession that. So that kind of workflow, whether your library automation is supporting or not, that is very important to know. Fund accounting in real time, cataloging of serials as per Mark 21 bibliographic format, different kind of inquiries, that is the arrivals of a particular serials issue, then what are the missing issues, whether claims sent or not, this kind of reports and statistics your library automation system should generate. Now, apart from all this basic core activities, your library automation software should support MIS through reports and statistics. Analysis of statistics is a very important part, because nowadays different kind of analytics softwares are available. Say for example, Google Analytics or PI-Week. So those kind of software, can your library automation integrate to create different kind of real time usage statistics? How many times a document actually searched, how many times how many hits or it got, how many times a particular item downloaded, all this kind of statistics related to usage can be generated dynamically by using Google Analytics or PI-Week software. So, but your library automation software must be compatible with those software. Then availability of the Intel library loan module is an added advantage. Not all the software includes it, but if it includes, it will be an added advantage for you. Then apart from that core activities related to library automation, nowadays library automation software we use for different kind of outreach services like community information services, social networking support, blog support, online help and for users, user orientation program, tutorial how to search a particular OPAC. So all these kind of facilities, ask a librarian question, ask a librarian service, so that user can chat with your librarian in real time. All these are added advantage and you need to ensure the availability of those services. And as I told you that the difference between the automated library system and digital library systems is blurring every day. So it's always better to have a digital media archiving module in your library automation system to support full text search, to hold multimedia contents, to hold image, full text digitized thesis, etc. And above all, if you have a digital media archiving system, you need to have a federated search facilities, so that right from one particular single window search interface, your user can search bibliographic records, what are the available in the library, as well as the full text records available in your library or available in some other places, but you have indexed in your library. So these are the functional level requirements. At the access level, you need to ensure online access through web, that is called web OPAC, social network enabled OPAC, gateway services, system and administration. We need to control privilege, we need to control branch management, because some of the library operating automation systems are independent, supports independent branch management, and you need to ensure if you are basically a distributed library system. So we already covered the system level and this functional level requirements. Software level requirements, we already discussed that LMS must be fully integrated with a common data set, must have the capability of supporting multiple branches, it must allow unlimited number of records and unlimited number of concurrent users, that means they are using your service simultaneously. Fully developed operational facilities for multiple customer sites. So these are the minimum set of requirements available, must be available with integrated library system. Thank you.